You know that feeling, right? When the days get shorter and darker, and suddenly your energy and your mood just take a nosedive? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. It's that classic urge to just crawl under a blanket and hibernate until spring. But what if it's more than just the winter blues? Well, today we're going to dig into what's really going on and what you can actually do about it. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. It's about that moment when it clicks, When you realize, hey, this isn't just me being stressed or in a random bad mood. It's a cycle. It's this predictable thing that shows up every single fall like an unwelcome guest. And spotting that pattern, that is the absolute first step to taking back control. Yeah, and let's be super clear here. This is not just a case of the winter blues that you're supposed to just, tough out. This recurring, predictable pattern we're talking about, it has a name, and it's a real, recognized clinical condition. It's called Seasonal Affective Disorder, or SAD for short. And look, the most important part of this definition, the part I really want you to hear, is that it's a type of clinical depression. This is so key. It's not a personality flaw, it's not a sign of weakness. It is a legitimate medical condition that's directly tied to the changing seasons. Okay, so just how common are we talking about here? Well, according to the American Psychiatric Association, SAD affects about 5% of adults in the US. Now, 5% might not sound like a huge number, but think about it. That's literally millions of people going through the exact same thing every single year. So believe me, you are far from alone in this. And get this, for the people who experience SAD, the symptoms can be present for about 40% of the year. Let that sink in. 40%. That is almost half the year where you might not feel like yourself. That is a huge chunk of your life, which is exactly why talking about it and treating it is so, so important. Now, it's interesting because while we almost always talk about winter SAD, there's actually a less common summer version. And the symptoms, they're basically polar opposites. Winter SAD gives you that classic hibernation feeling. You're oversleeping, craving carbs, just feeling totally sluggish. Summer SAD, on the other hand, is more about insomnia, poor appetite, and feeling agitated or anxious. But for today, we're going to focus on the one most of us are familiar with, winter onset SAD. All right, so why? Why does this even happen? This is the crucial thing to get. SAD is a biological response to an environmental change. I'm going to say that again. It's biological. It is not all in your head in the way people sometimes dismiss things. It's literally in your brain's chemistry. Your brain is getting the signal from the environment that it's time to power down for winter. You can actually think of it like a chain reaction. It's pretty straightforward. Step 1, less sunlight. That lack of light then throws your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, completely out of whack. And that disruption messes with the balance of your key brain hormones, which directly leads to all those symptoms of SAD we've been talking about. So let's zoom in on those brain chemicals for a second. The reduced sunlight can cause a drop in serotonin. That's the neurotransmitter that helps regulate your mood, the feel-good chemical. At the exact same time, the season change can totally disrupt your body's production of melatonin, which is the hormone that manages your sleep. So when those two get out of sync, bam, you get that classic SAD combo of feeling down and being completely exhausted. So who's at a higher risk for all this? Well, the National Institute of Mental Health points to a few key things. First, women experience SAD about 4 times more often than men. 4 times. Other big factors are where you live, so living farther from the equator, think more New York than Miami, having a family history of depression, or already managing major depression or bipolar disorder. Okay, but here's the good news, and it's really good news. There are highly effective, evidence-based ways to treat this. And one of the most studied and most successful is light therapy. So let's get right into the playbook for how to actually use it to fight back. All right, first things first with light therapy. Intensity is everything. The clinical standard you're looking for is 10,000 lux. And just to be clear, your regular old desk lamp, it's not even close. It won't cut it. So here's your unfiltered advice. If you're going to invest in this, make absolutely sure the device you get meets that 10,000 lux standard. And listen, it's not just about owning the box. It's about how you use it. The magic formula is about 20 to 30 minutes every single day. Consistency is the name of the game here. Timing is also super important. Using it before 8 in the morning seems to have the best effect on resetting that internal clock. And please remember, you do not stare directly into the light. You just position it off to the side so the light hits your eyes indirectly while you're, I don't know, drinking your coffee or reading. And if you're sitting there wondering, okay, but does this stuff actually work? The answer is a resounding yes. Research shows effectiveness rates somewhere between 50 and 80%. I mean, for any treatment for depression, that is a huge number. It just goes to show how powerful this tool can be when you use it the right way. But look, light therapy is just one tool in the toolbox. And the unfiltered truth is that the best defense is a multifaceted one. It's about building a whole survival kit, you know? A bunch of different strategies that all work together to help you feel your best. So what exactly is in this toolkit? Well, it's a whole range of options. We're talking specific types of therapy and medication, supplements like vitamin D, but it also includes really powerful lifestyle strategies. Things like staying connected to people, getting some realistic movement in, and even just making a few tweaks to your home or workspace. Let's break down a couple of the biggest professional options here. On the medical side, some antidepressants like SSRIs can be really helpful. There's even one, Bupropion XL, that's FDA approved specifically to prevent SAD episodes before they even start. Then on the therapy side, there's a specialized form of cognitive behavioral therapy called CBT-SAD. It's designed to help you tackle and restructure those negative thoughts you might have about winter and build healthier routines. Okay, time for some more unfiltered, real talk. One of the absolute hardest things about SAD is that it makes you want to hibernate. It tells you to pull away from people and just be alone. You have to actively, consciously fight that urge. I mean it. Schedule social time and treat it like it's a doctor's appointment you can't miss, especially on the days you really don't feel like going. And the same exact thing goes for movement. The absolute key here is to be realistic. This is not the time to tell yourself you're going to start training for a marathon. No, just commit to something small, like a 10-minute walk outside. Getting that little bit of morning light and activity does wonders for your internal clock. Even just taking short breaks to step outside during the workday can make a world of difference. So all of this, it all leads to what I think is the most empowering idea of all. And that's the shift from just reacting to your symptoms every year to proactively preparing for them. And this quote right here, it just sums it all up perfectly. The unfiltered truth is that there isn't one single magic bullet. Beating the winter blues, really tackling SAD, is about combining a bunch of different strategies. The light therapy, the social connection, the movement, and then, and this is key, applying them with consistent effort. So how do you actually do that? How do you get proactive? Here's a super simple, actionable plan. First, think back over the last few years. When do your symptoms usually start to creep in? Pinpoint that date. Then you start all your preventative measures, your light therapy, your scheduled walks, your social plans, 2 to 3 weeks before that date ever arrives. You get ahead of it before it has a chance to take hold. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. It's not about doing everything all at once, because that's just overwhelming. It's about starting with one thing. So my question to you is this. Looking ahead, what is one thing, just one, that you can schedule in your calendar right now to start building your defense and protect your mental health this winter?